Hello, my dear friends. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you in our special news update. Friends, today's news could prove to be very important for millions of people in the United States. Because right now, a discussion is gaining momentum across the entire country, and it is directly related to Social Security payments. Yes, friends, at this moment, not just millions, but tens of millions of people are asking the same question. Will Social Security payments increase again in 2026? Will retired people receive more money every month? And if there is an increase, how much could it be? Friends, this question is extremely important because today in America, there are millions of senior citizens whose biggest financial support is Social Security. After retirement, many people do not have any other regular source of income. In such situations, the monthly Social Security payment becomes the main financial security for their lives. That is why, whenever any news related to this program appears, millions of families pay very close attention to it. Friends, if we look back at the situation over the past few years, we can see that Social Security payments have been increased several times, especially during periods when inflation in the United States was rising rapidly. When inflation increases, it means the cost of everyday items also rises. Food becomes more expensive, the price of medicines increases, rent for housing goes up, and the cost of electricity, gas, and other essential services also rises. In such a situation, if people's income remains the same, it becomes very difficult for them to manage their daily expenses. Keeping this problem in mind, the Social Security system in the United States includes a special provision called the Cost of Living Adjustment, also known as COLA. The purpose of COLA is simple. If inflation increases, Social Security benefits are also increased so that beneficiaries can maintain their purchasing power. In simple terms, COLA ensures that when the cost of living rises, people do not lose their ability to afford basic necessities. And that is why, every year, experts carefully examine inflation data to determine how much adjustment should be made in Social Security payments. Now, friends, based on this process, discussions have already begun about the possible Social Security increase for 2026. Economic experts are continuously analyzing inflation trends to estimate what the COLA percentage could be next year. Based on the economic data available so far, some experts believe that Social Security payments in 2026 could increase by approximately 2.5% to 3%. However, it is important to understand that this is not the final number yet. The official announcement is usually made toward the end of the year after all inflation data has been fully reviewed. But the current signals suggest that beneficiaries may receive some additional financial relief. Let's understand this with a simple example. Suppose a person is currently receiving about $2,000 per month in Social Security benefits. If the payment increases by 3%, that would mean the person could receive about $60 more per month. If we calculate that over the course of a full year, the additional amount could reach around $720 annually. For some people, the increase could be even higher. This is because many beneficiaries receive $2,500 or more in Social Security payments. For them, even a small percentage increase can result in a much larger monthly benefit. Friends, it is also very important to understand that Social Security is not only for retired workers. The program also provides payments to several other types of beneficiaries. For example, people who cannot work due to disabilities receive Social Security disability benefits. In addition, families may also receive financial support if the primary earning member of the household has passed away. In such cases, eligible family members receive what are called survivor benefits. So when we look at the bigger picture, Social Security is not just a retirement program. It is actually a comprehensive social safety system. Today, more than 70 million Americans receive Social Security benefits. This number alone shows how large and important this program is. And that is exactly why even a small change in Social Security payments can affect millions of families across the country. However, friends, there is another important aspect of this discussion that we should also understand. That issue is the rapidly growing elderly population in the United States. Over the past several decades, the average life expectancy in America has increased. This means that people are living longer than before. While this is certainly a positive development, it also creates additional pressure on the Social Security system. Because as more people retire, the number of individuals receiving Social Security benefits continues to grow. For this reason, many economic experts are also discussing the long-term future of Social Security. Some reports suggest that if funding for the program is not strengthened in the coming years, the system could face financial pressure in the future. However, at present, Social Security payments are continuing normally, and millions of Americans rely on them every month. That is why the government and policy experts are constantly monitoring the system to ensure its long-term stability. And this is also the reason why every piece of news related to Social Security is taken very seriously. For now, the signals indicate that Social Security beneficiaries could receive some additional financial relief in 2026. But the final decision will only be made after the full year's inflation data is analyzed and the official COLA percentage is announced. Still, one thing is clear. If the increase happens, it will be a welcome relief for millions of retired Americans. Because even today, there are many seniors in the United States whose entire financial situation depends largely on their Social Security payments. For them, even a small increase can make a meaningful difference in their daily lives. And friends, that is exactly why the discussion about Social Security Increase 2026 is spreading rapidly across the United States right now.
So, the big question is, how is the Social Security payment actually calculated? Why do some people receive higher monthly payments while others receive less? Friends, the amount of Social Security benefits is determined based on several important factors. The first and most important factor is a person's work history. The Social Security system in the United States is built on the idea that the longer a person works and the more they contribute to the system, the greater the benefit they receive after retirement. The second key factor is the individual's average earnings. When someone works for many years, their income history is recorded by the Social Security Administration. Later, this earnings record is used to calculate how much that person will receive in monthly Social Security benefits after retirement. Now, there's another important point that needs to be understood. In the United States, there is a specific retirement age set for receiving full Social Security benefits. This is called the full retirement age. For most people, this age falls between 66 and 67, depending on the year they were born. If someone begins receiving Social Security benefits after reaching their full retirement age, their monthly payment may be higher. However, if a person chooses to start receiving Social Security early at age 62, the monthly benefit amount will usually be reduced. The reason for this is that the Social Security system encourages people to work longer before claiming benefits. If someone delays their retirement and waits until age 70 to claim Social Security, their monthly payment can become significantly higher. That's why many financial advisors suggest that if possible, it may be beneficial to delay claiming Social Security benefits. Now, friends, let's talk about who benefits the most from Social Security. The first group is retired workers. These are individuals who spent many years working and contributing Social Security taxes during their careers. After retirement, they receive monthly Social Security payments. The second group includes people with disabilities. If someone becomes unable to work due to a serious illness or accident, they may qualify for Social Security disability benefits. These benefits are extremely important for individuals whose ability to work has suddenly been lost. The third group consists of people who receive survivor benefits. If the primary earner in a family passes away, certain family members may receive financial support through Social Security. This support may be available to a widow or widower, and in some cases, children may also qualify for benefits. So, when we look at the overall system, Social Security is not just a retirement program. It is actually a broad social safety net designed to provide financial protection to millions of Americans. Now, another important question arises. If a Social Security increase happens in 2026, who will benefit the most from it? The answer is people who are already receiving Social Security payments. That's because cost of living adjustments, COLA, are directly added to their monthly benefits. For example, if someone is currently receiving $2,200 per month and the COLA increase is 3%, their new monthly payment could increase to approximately $2,266. Now, this increase may seem small at first glance, but over an entire year, it becomes a meaningful amount of money. And it becomes especially important for people who depend entirely on Social Security for their income. Friends, over the past few years, inflation in the United States has affected the financial situation of many households. For seniors in particular, rising prices have become a major challenge. The cost of groceries have increased, medical expenses have gone up, and housing costs and rent have also risen in many areas. In such circumstances, even a small increase in Social Security benefits can make a significant difference. But friends, in the middle of this discussion, there is another important issue that many experts are raising concerns about, and that issue is the future of the Social Security Trust Fund. The money used to pay Social Security benefits comes from a fund known as the Social Security Trust Fund. This fund is primarily supported by payroll taxes. When people work, a portion of their income is collected as Social Security tax. Later, that same money is used to provide payments to retirees and other beneficiaries. However, some reports suggest that if the balance between income and expenses is not maintained in the future, the system could face financial pressure in the coming decades. That is why many economists and policy experts are discussing the need for potential reforms in the Social Security system. For now, Social Security payments continue as usual, and millions of Americans rely on these benefits every month. But in order to keep the system stable for the future, it is being closely monitored and evaluated. And friends, this is exactly why every update about a Social Security increase receives so much attention, because this is not just about a government program, it is about the financial security of millions of people. Based on the signals we are seeing right now, it appears that Social Security beneficiaries may receive some additional financial relief in 2026. However, the final decision will only be made after the full year's inflation data has been analyzed. Once that happens, the official COLA percentage will be announced. But one thing can certainly be said. If an increase does happen, it will bring welcome relief to millions of retired Americans, because even today, there are many seniors in the United States whose entire financial stability depends on their monthly Social Security payments. And that is exactly why the excitement and curiosity surrounding the Social Security increase for 2026 continues to grow. But now another important question arises. If there is a Social Security increase in 2026, what could the maximum payment actually be? And will everyone receive the same benefit, or will some people benefit more than others? Friends, Social Security payments are not the same for everyone. They depend mainly on two key factors: how many years a person worked and how much they earned on average during their career. The U.S. Social Security system works on a simple principle. The more a person contributes during their working years, the greater the benefits they may receive after retirement. For example, if someone consistently earned a higher income during their career and paid Social Security taxes for many years, the monthly retirement benefit they receive can be significantly higher. Now let's talk about the maximum Social Security payment. At present, if a person retires at their full retirement age, the maximum monthly Social Security benefit can be more than $3,000 per month. However, if someone delays claiming their Social Security benefits and waits until about age 70, their monthly payment can increase even further. In some cases, the benefit can reach around $4,000 per month. But it is important to understand that not everyone receives the maximum benefit. This level of payment is generally possible only for individuals who earned consistently high incomes throughout their careers and paid the maximum Social Security taxes for many years. Friends, there is another very important point to understand here. A Social Security increase, also known as the cost of living adjustment, COLA, does not apply only to the maximum benefit. It applies to all beneficiaries. This means that if someone is currently receiving $1,500 per month, their benefit will increase after the COLA adjustment. Similarly, if someone is receiving $2,500 per month, their payment will also increase by the same percentage. That is why the COLA increase is considered extremely important for Social Security beneficiaries. Now let's talk about the people who receive the highest Social Security payments. Typically, these are individuals who worked for many decades, paid Social Security taxes consistently, and earned relatively higher wages throughout their careers. As a result, they may receive larger monthly payments after retirement. On the other hand, there are also people who worked for fewer years or had lower average incomes. In such cases, their Social Security benefits may be relatively smaller. Because of this, many financial experts advise workers to take Social Security contributions seriously during their careers, since it plays a major role in their future financial security. Now, another interesting question comes up. Is Social Security only for retired people? The answer is no. The Social Security system actually provides several different types of benefits. The largest portion goes toward retirement benefits, but there are also disability benefits and survivor benefits. Disability benefits are provided to people who are unable to work due to a serious illness or injury. For these individuals, Social Security can serve as an important financial lifeline. Survivor benefits, on the other hand, are provided to families whose primary earning member has passed away. In such cases, certain family members may receive financial assistance through Social Security. This support can be especially important for families whose financial stability depended on the income of that individual. Now, friends, let's discuss another topic that is receiving a lot of attention in the United States today: the future of Social Security. Over the past few years, several reports have suggested that the Social Security system could face financial pressure in the coming decades. One of the biggest reasons for this is America's changing population structure. In earlier decades, there were more working people paying into the system and fewer retirees receiving benefits. But the situation is gradually changing. Today, the number of older Americans is growing rapidly, which means the number of people receiving Social Security benefits is also increasing. At the same time, the number of workers paying into the system is not growing at the same pace. Because of this situation, many economic experts believe that reforms may eventually be needed to strengthen the Social Security system. Some experts suggest that payroll taxes could be adjusted in the future. Others believe the retirement age might gradually increase, and some economists argue that higher income earners could face additional taxes to help maintain the strength of the Social Security fund. However, these ideas are still under discussion, and no final decisions have been made yet. What is clear, though, is that Social Security remains one of the most important social programs in the United States, and policymakers continue to work on ways to keep it strong for future generations. Now, let's return to the question that many people are asking right now. Is a Social Security increase guaranteed in 2026? The answer is that it is still too early to say with certainty. The COLA percentage depends entirely on inflation data. Once the full year's inflation numbers are available, the Social Security Administration calculates the COLA for the following year. Typically, this announcement is made around October after economic data from the entire year has been analyzed. Based on that analysis, officials determine how much Social Security benefits will increase. However, current economic signals suggest that beneficiaries may receive some additional financial relief in 2026. The increase may not be extremely large, but even a small adjustment can be very meaningful for millions of people. This is especially true for individuals who depend almost entirely on Social Security payments for their daily living expenses. That is why the discussion about Social Security Increase 2026 is gaining momentum across the United States. People are eager to know how much extra money they might be receiving each month in the future. And in the coming months, as new economic data becomes available, clearer information about the possible increase will continue to emerge.